Hello and welcome to Game Club Coalition. I'm Sean and this is Chase. Today we're going to be going over our Kena Bridge of Spirits first impressions on the PlayStation 5. So Kena Bridge of Spirits is made by a first-time game studio, realistically. Previously they were known more or less as a animation studio. This is their first foray into actual gaming. Months ago when they first kind of announced it, they showed a lot of stuff, and leading up to it, there hasn't been a lot of new, and reviews were kind of embargoed until the launch day, which made a lot of people apprehensive about it. But I think after the first couple of hours, it's been a pretty incredible game so far. Graphics are amazing. But I do want to kick it over. Chase, what were your first thoughts in the first hour or two last night?
First hour, the lighting blew me away. Initially, I was like, wow, this is really great lighting. And I know that we were kind of talking while we were playing it. And initially, I was kind of like, the animations are kind of stiff for an animation studio. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to get the bad out of the way first, because that was my initial reaction. I was like, yeah, the transitions were weird. It was just kind of weird. But then the more you play it, and then once you get out of the first area and you see their color palette, just like bam, and the interactions with some of the NPCs and stuff, it's a lot more magical than I expected, I guess. It's the lamest way I could explain it, but I just was like, it was really fun. Like I'm really enjoying it. I played it for 2 hours, but it's just like it's like Zelda kind of. It's more like, I don't know.
It is very much Zelda-like, in a lot of the initial, kind of looks at it. We're like, oh, it looks like a Pixar movie, and I think myself included, as well as a lot of other people, were kind of skeptical of how they were going to pull off this, aesthetic in a game, because we hadn't really seen anything like this before. Not saying that we haven't seen crazier graphics, but just the look and style of it is so unique, and I think that was one of the things that kind of blew me away initially, was like, wow, this looks really great. And I think I also had some, get the bad out of the way type of stuff, where I felt like the haptics and some of the rumble and stuff, it wasn't quite there. Like I wanted more player feedback from some of the combat and stuff. But once you get into it a little bit more, stuff is there. It's just really subtle. I do think that I would love to see some things adjusted and changed over time. But man, once you get a couple of the other abilities, there's some stuff that just like the haptics are really good. The control scheme is really good. Yeah, the adaptive triggers the adaptive triggers have some great feelings and even sounds on some of the later items. Once you get the bow, which I don't think is a spoiler now that I realize that it's in a bunch of trailers. But when you pull that thing back, the adaptive triggers themselves, the way they rattle or move, it makes it sound like a bowstring, like tightening, like or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think for the few things that it's missing, it's actually so far a fantastic game. And I think you hit the nail on the head last night, Chase, where you said, while it is really great and impressive, it does sort of feel like a game's first studio.
Or a studio's first game.
Studio's first game, yes.
Yeah. And it's like not an insult, because I'm sure a lot of these people have experience making games. Yeah. But as a team, their first foray into gaming, like you said, it's like I don't know, it's not. It sounds bad when you say that. You know what I mean? When I said it last night, I was like, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like, it's incredibly impressive. It's incredible. It's Zelda and Uncharted and Pixar. Had a baby. You know what I mean? The climbing and exploration and
I think a lot of that also speaks very highly of it too, at the same degree, right? Where yes, there might be some things where it kind of feels like this studio's first game, but man, am I excited for some of their future stuff already. And I haven't even 100%. Beat this game. Whether they do a sequel follow-up, whether they do something else, I think the end result, especially as a self-published indie, more or less, at a $40 price point, for what you're getting out of this so far. I mean, I already feel like I've gotten my full $40, to be honest.
100%. And I feel bad because everything I've said is like, this is negative, but like, it's just it's the combat too. Like, I guess when I was going into the game, I had no idea what I was going to play.
Same.
Like you said, I had no idea. Like everyone was like, "Oh, it looks like a Pixar movie. Look at this trailer."
Platformer.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I had no expectations other than like, hey, I want to support them. Really, like it was a $40 game, in a time of $60 and $70 games and Game Pass, right? So everyone's like, "Oh, games should be free." With my subscription fee, it's free. But I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm looking forward to playing it after we're done talking, to be honest.
Same.
Yeah, like when you get the bow, because I was playing through it and I was like, this is cool. The combat's fine. I think the combat at the beginning is serviceable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, R1 light attack, R2 heavy attack. And you were like, oh, it's got like Souls combat.
Yeah.
Definitely not as difficult, but I did die a couple times. I was not paying attention to dodging. And those things
and it kind of even
hard.
gives off this like look that it's like a kiddie game and like something you could pass to your kids and they could play, but there was definitely some difficult sections. And as much as, you know, I like to equate that control style to Souls, tons of other games have adapted that with between God of War,
even Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed has kind of taken over that too. Yeah, there's a ton of games that kind of use that, and I really enjoy that. And it was something that I did not expect going into this.
I still kept trying to hit square every now and then to attack, and I was like, oh god.
Me too. and I think, you know, we're only a couple of minutes in, and we don't want this to go on all night. But I think one of the things to take away here is the couple of things that we're talking about was really more nitpicky than everything else, because the sound design and between the music and the different like little things that are going on in the world, and the way the haptic feedback kind of gives you some direction towards some hidden objects and items. Like there's so much good about this game. It's almost hard to talk about all the good. It's easier to just be like, here's these couple of little nitpicky things that like are kind of like and they're not even bad. It's almost like the famous Chase saying is, it isn't a bad thing, it isn't a good thing, it's just a thing.
It's just a thing. Yeah.
It just exists, and there's, I think for even some of this, they have the ability to change it. Like one of my biggest things was there's not enough player feedback when combat is going on. Like I need an additional like, or maybe the sound of like the thwack of hitting enemies needs to be just like a little bit louder.
It sounds like hollow bamboo. It's like tung, tung,
yeah,
you know, and it's fine. Like I said, it's serviceable, but there is missing that sort of sound design in the combat. Otherwise the music and everything's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like there's all these little things that are kind of like but the combat is actually really good. There's a lot of different combos, and once you start upgrading your character and getting some other abilities and stuff, like there's so much else that you can do with the combat and stuff that it just makes it feel really unique. And I think in the Skill Up review that I had watched earlier today, he said that it doesn't do anything like new or groundbreaking, but what it does exceptionally well. It kind of has this whole Legend of Zelda, Metroidvania scheme, open world thing going on with a mix of, you know, Uncharted and Tomb Raider-y aspects with climbing and a bunch of other stuff. Like it is really, really just a cool experience. There was so many points both yesterday and today playing it, and I was just like, man, this just has like that oomph. It has that like it factor of like, it reminds me of like back in Xbox Live like 360 days when they used to have their like Xbox arcade games and stuff, where there was these really unique indie games that you would be like, wow, this is something that I've never experienced before.
You played the heck out of that stuff, man. And you played a lot of games like that.
But at the same time, some of that stuff was like, oh, it's kind of like a mix of this and this and this, and then we're gonna just kind of like turn it into this new thing. And it was just, I feel like overall I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far, and I cannot wait to play more.
Yeah, and the story itself, without I can't even spoil anything because I haven't even seen much of it, but like there's just a lot of like small character moments, and the subtlety of animation, their roots show. Yeah, like when it comes to those pre-rendered 24 frames per second cutscenes, it's a design decision. Yeah. So like there you go. There, it's out there. It's a 24 frames per second. It looks like a film. That's fine. it's fine. It's a little weird when you go from 60 to 24, but just like the animation, the characters, Kina, her expressions, she's always kind of got this like
yeah,
kind of crooked.
And there's so many like minute details
sweet.
that are taken care of within the animations between your walking and running, like the way her kind of hair that's pulled back is like bouncing around in the bag that's on her side, and like there's all these additional motions and movements that I feel like other games just don't have.
Yeah, and like when you start sprinting with her, she's got this really fun looseness to her arm that isn't carrying the weapon. You kind of see her wrist slap back and forth, and it's just like I was showing it to my friend Nick because I was like, the animations feel weird. Again, he's animating for Funcom right now, and so he's like, these start and stop animations, and he was breaking it down frame by frame, and he's like, you know how hard that is though to do? Like, he's like, and they're using Unreal 4, and he's like, I use that state machine all the time. And so he kind of broke it down for me, and I was like, oh man, I kind of feel like a jerk when I was like, this feels weird, I don't know anything. But like it was kind of cool to get his opinion on it.
And again, especially for their first foray into an actual playable game, as opposed to something that they can, a scene that's pre-rendered or that they take care of, where they can, they've got all these different animations that have to mesh together. I gotta say, if you're on the border, on the line, you've seen other reviews, you've seen other things, just don't even think about it.
Just get it.
Support a well-priced budget indie game that is just going to leave you feeling like you watched a 15-hour Pixar movie and it was all interactive cutscenes or something. Like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's fun to play.
Yes.
And the little characters, like the rat, like how they interact with the environment, but super subtly, like they just kind of come with you. And it's not like Pikmin where it's like they follow you around and they're these weird little, they're just pawns in a game.
Yeah.
They have all this personality. Like, I was walking across a bridge and I stopped to talk to an NPC, and they were like sitting on the edge of the bridge and it's like stretching their legs and like laying there, and I was just like, dude, that's so cool. Like, small little things like that just add so much character to the world. And it's that's the it factor. It's like, is it like Zelda? Does it kind of have Dark Souls combat? A little bit. Does it have like backtracking and exploration like a Metroidvania? But it's Kina.
Yeah.
Right? It's on top of it. It's just this like layer of like greatness by using these mechanics from other games. And as a first game, who doesn't do that? Who doesn't take inspiration from the greats and try to make something unique out of it? And they did it. Sweet.
And I think the world, bringing it back to that is really like almost like one of the main characters. There is this just expansive feeling, like when in the first couple of hours you're climbing up this mountain. And as you're going along, you can kind of get to the edges of some areas and you look back down and it's like, oh, that's where I was a little bit ago. Or, oh, actually over there, that's where I started this journey. And then there was this cliff over here where this other thing happened. And there's just, it seems limitless. It seems so wide open, and they do a great job transitioning from what I'm assuming are like, static backgrounds or placeholders for some of this far viewing stuff into actually getting there and having it being rendered. Yes. So I just think overall, the world just really, really ties it together, and I cannot wait to get back. I know, we're just sitting here like,
okay, let's go. No, I was kidding. But yeah, the world's amazing, and when you first go into the forest area and the storm and the lighting, the volumetric fog and
there's
stuff,
a lot of really great lighting.
Looks really good. It's really, really, really nice. But last thing I want to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony acquires these guys soon. I'm calling it now.
Same. I could definitely see with the exclusivity that they currently have on the console market, I could definitely see Sony trying to snap this company up, and I think it would be an excellent choice. And overall, just to kind of wrap up this video, I think, again, this so far has proven to be a really, really cool and unique game. And like I said, I can't wait to hop off here and go play it. So we're gonna, sign out and do our thing. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and smash that like button to let us know that we did good, or give us a thumbs down. We'll take it all. And if you are looking for more content like this or any other, gaming related news, including tech products that you would use to play games, feel free to hit that subscribe. We just hit 200 subscribers. We've kind of been on a mini hiatus, and we're going to start picking this back up again. So you'll be hearing from us soon. Until then, Game Club out.